Hi, this is Curtis Thompson from the Wellingborough New Testament Church of God, also part of the Leicester District Youth Board. God bless you. We've been holding conversations with our different pastors and bishops on the district from Wellingborough, Northampton, Peterborough, and Leicester, as a way of keeping engaged as we've not been able to attend church, and a way of trying to connect our young people to the pastors and bishops. This conversation is a continuation of part one. This is part two, where we were speaking with Bishop Joel Haye. And in this video, he shares his thoughts on how we can engage young people back in the church after lockdown. He shares his thoughts again on how parents can make decisions on sending their kids back to school. And then finally, he gives us outlines the structure within the church on supporting young people and any mental health challenges that they might have. So really profound, really good to engage with him. I hope you enjoy it too. God bless you.
As we were talking here about our young people and, not going to church on a Sunday, for some people that is just, hey, mum can't drag me anywhere, grandma can't pinch me to get out of bed. I know my son's rolling down his dressing gown, just watching the TV, and then he's rolling back up to bed after. It's the perfect scenario for him. How do you think, we get those young people back into that environment? What do you think? There needs to be a specific strategy, or do you think we should be comfortable with them saying, "Mum, I'm not coming. I'm going to watch online today"?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because the reason I say this, I'm saying it from a position where I think we've been on this journey for a while. The church has been on a journey because keeping people what I call entertained.
Yes.
It's hard work because, I say this sometimes, that the church can be seen as a large entertaining, entertainment manufacturing corporation.
Okay.
Instead of what we call it, addressing life, relationships, and so on and so forth. So thinking about young people and so on and so forth, how we connect with them, we're going to have to connect with them in ways, and sometimes we're herding people almost to the building.
Yeah.
But in terms of finding ways that we can be more adaptable, bringing and connecting people, and even in the education system now, realizing that they're going to have to change the way they're doing things. Even in, I think we're listening to something about Cambridge University. They're going to do their lessons online. What implications going to have for young people in terms of traveling from home? What implications are going to have for young people? Halls of residence. Leicester's building halls of residence like it's going out of fashion. And all of a sudden now, we're going to have more online stuff going to be happening. So I really believe that. I think one of the areas that we need to develop more in terms of connecting, to build the infrastructure of social media more, in connecting young people. That's where they are.
Yes.
And you can bring people into that area more quicker sometimes than you can bring them into a church building.
Yeah.
So it's finding ways that we can do that. Both is good, but what we really also have to realize is that the same way that what we said about our seniors, we know that when we go back, most of our seniors are probably going to see a church building for the rest of this year, possibly. Yeah. Because of the situation. So there's going to be a connection. So it means then that if we're making the effort to do that, we need to also look at the effort about how we're going to connect and keep connecting with young people, give them forums, because I think that it's easy for them to have a forum like this where I can speak to them here, then I can travel all the way to Leicester. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do.
Wherever. So so myself and the district pastor are talking, because this year our theme was keeping our eyes on Jesus for our national district convention. We will run something similar, probably just a Saturday, probably August or somewhere around there. But one of the things that we were saying is that it gives us the opportunity to reach more people, and also the fact that people don't have to necessarily travel to one place. We can do some of this, and some of the topical issues that, I know yourself, Curtis, you've got lots of ideas and stuff like that, some of the things that we're talking about, so young people connecting on a Saturday, like that and that. I think that opportunities like this on these kind of platforms gives opportunity for that as well.
Yes.
And it also breaks down a lot of the barriers with
Yeah.
having people dressing, coming to church, and you know, you look at status and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it will help all of those kind of things. You know, I'm not decrying the fact that we need to be in our buildings and that really, but I think there's a lot of lonely people in big buildings.
Yeah. You mentioned you going to uni there, and obviously the news and the politics at the moment is about schools opening, you know, and but then also, as you mentioned, Dominic, Cummins, this individual instinct that people need to have of, shall we send our kids to schools? I wonder if you've got any advice or guidance about how parents decide to how and when to send kids back to schools, and how we should be advising our teenagers who are going college and uni. As parents, we've got to, we're the decision makers ultimately, you know.
I think that is a very difficult one. When I say difficult one, I remember I just had a meeting with our leadership, and we were talking about what would church look like when we go back, and looking at what kind of structure that we need to put in place, how we're going to do, how we're going to manage, how we're going to manage the cleaning, how we're going to do all of that kind of stuff. And within that structure, there were some people who were ready, and some people said, absolutely not. I'm not ready for none of that. I've talked to some pastors who are ready to go back, and some said, wait, whoa. You understand what I'm trying to say? So people are at different stages, and what has to happen in a situation like this, that, and I'm glad that from what I can hear from the government, is that people aren't yet, I use the term yet, being fined if they choose to sort of say that I'm not happy with my child going.
Yeah.
And I think each family, I think each parent in situations like this have to weigh up the situation. If you're shielding whether you're likely to have elderly people within your structure, in whatever way, you know, grandparents or whoever, you have to take that on board. That is a factor that you have to think about. You understand? Also, the fact, you know, that some people, you know, there's children who are compressed together. You know, we're hearing about more domestic violence taking place in home. You know, all getting reported, obviously, is the adults who's in a position to report it. But children are witnessing that. Children are being in a situation where they need to get out. And I really do believe that when the walls come down, there will be stories. And I think social services may have to become more vigilant in some of those areas. And even us, who, when things start to open up, we'll be realizing that, you know, it may not, you know, the lockdown is supposed to bring families together and we all sing Kumbaya, but for a lot of people, that's not the case.
Absolutely.
You know, there's some situations quite toxic, and, you know, obviously, you know, there's a pastor, you know, looking in certain situations, you know, that there are toxic situations even when things were good. And when you now are compressing the situation. So to some extent, it's a difficult, that's the reason I'm saying it's difficult, because yes, one, the children needs to get out to be with their peers and so on and so forth. And sometimes you just even get a breath of fresh air. Yes. It's quite interesting. I was listening to something on Sky News just before this broadcast, and there was a young man who was raising funds in his garden. I think he's raised £5,000 in his garden for hospice. And the question that, you know, he was asked by the interviewer, "But what do you feel about going back to school?" He said, yeah. And, you know, said, "Oh, why are you saying that?" And he was saying, "Well, I need to get away from," pointing to his mom. "I need to get back from all they're doing is maths and English and so on." But others may be saying, "I want to get back because for other reasons." You understand what I'm trying to say? So whilst I can't, I'm saying that it's a difficult one, and I think that's where us as, you know, people in leadership position, youth leaders, that's why I encourage really on you know, even in our local church at the district, that the local youth director, they connect where they can connect. And I'm not saying that you have a meeting because we have to go through all kinds of consent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there are vulnerable children, and it's a hard one. Yes, if it's safe to do so, you go ahead and do all that you need to do. I'm saying all of that to say that, you know, my son's going to go back to school, and we're going to have to possibly look after our grandson or stuff like that. And it makes it make you think that it's not straightforward. As much as we want it to be straightforward, it's not straightforward. But I say, parents, you need to make whatever decision, right decision. Take all the advice that you need to take. And I say, young person, if you are in difficulty, I'm speaking to you. If you feel that you're in difficulties, in challenging home situations, toxic, you can't speak to your parents, or things aren't going the way that it should do. I know that it may be hard, but I don't know, and it's very hard to say, who do you then ring and speak to and so forth in a situation like this. I'm just saying to you that I want to acknowledge and to let you know that not everybody who may say that everything's okay, or everyone's okay. And when the opportunity comes, at least if you're able to get out and to associate and mix with peers, at least you'll take some of the pressure off the situation.
I think that's really important. And it's funny you mentioned there's this nicely onto my next question, which is, of course, young people, there's lots of different challenges, physical, mental, emotional, just missing their friends, being stuck with mum and dad, as you said. I wonder, is there a way that as a district leadership team, we could put together some resources, or just, who are our counsellors on the district? Because one of the questions was, what support is there for our young people on the district? What support is there for our youth leaders supporting our young people? I'm sure there is support, but actually locally, who are our counsellors for even us to call and say, listen, I've got this young person, what do you think? What should I do? Where should I signpost them? I think that we would find that useful. I was going to ask it as a question, but perhaps no, it's not something that's off the shelf for you to say, okay, yeah. But I would say it would be useful for now and for moving forward.
I'd like to. Obviously, the point you raise is a very important point. I know that my wife is just qualified as a trained accountant, hours and stuff like that. And I know one of the things that there has been some discussion to look at some kind of a district. I can't necessarily forum, some kind of way on a district capacity. For counselling to be done, looking at pulling the people who are trained up in, especially in the area, not necessarily in counselling, but in other aspects of that, and looking about pulling that kind of resource together. One of the things that is very difficult, which I've learned from, I did level 2 in counselling myself, and one of the things that is very difficult to do is it's not easy to counsel people within your own, say, for instance, congregation. So, for instance, there's a situation in Wellingborough, it's very difficult to do counselling. Counselling is different from pastoral care and counselling. It's two different animals. And so it looks about ways of going to have to learn to do some cross-pollinating, where people from different parts will say, well, here's who you can speak to if you're from Wellingborough, here's where you can speak to. Rather, because sometimes, sadly to say, the person that within your locality sometimes is very close to home.
Yes.
So I'm saying to you that what you raised, it has been a discussion, and it is something that we were looking to have, as a matter of fact, some kind of meeting of some kind.
I think sometimes it doesn't need to be this, the long term, what it should look like. I think that's always pretty clear. But even if it's to say, right, here are 2 people on the district who have said, if you need some advice, initial conversation, call here. Do you know what I mean?
I think,
that's to call the pastors, obviously, but aside that.
The pastor is always a first port of call. The youth leader is a port of call. I'm a district pastor, and I've dealt with things that are on a district level, that local stuff that's come to my table before, even higher. So what I'm saying to you is that the same situation where if someone feels that they can't not necessarily access, they can't talk freely or whatever. That's I'm saying that there's access to myself, there's access to myself, even if it's by way of an email or
Yes.
by a text or something like that, to say that, because sometimes people need to speak confidentially or stuff like that, and no one should feel that they're suffering in silence.
Okay, that's
without
great.
having a sense to say that, who can I speak to?
Hmm.
And again, you know, I'm not saying that in dealing with the situation in its current circumstance, even where you're going to refer to or how you do that. Usually if you've got a young person in school, at least you can say, well, you're going to see the pastoral care or wherever or whatever. So, but if it is a matter of for instance, anyone at risk, any child protection issues, that becomes an issue. Obviously, it goes directly to line leads in terms of youth pastors. You know, there are safeguarding needs in each church and that really. So on that level, but if it's just to talk through things, you're not coping and that really, and what you know, I don't think no one should be feel that they're suffering, and if they need to come up as such, and even just to say that, you know, just want to chat. I'm not saying that, you know, when the call comes in, that it'll be answered straight away, but at least it'll be acknowledged and to say, right, I need to make a call or whatever.
But I think it's good to clarify that you're right. There is a system. It's not like there isn't a structure. There are the youth leaders, there are the department leaders, there are the pastors, and then there is a district pastor team. So I think that even sometimes that can get forgotten. In fact, the question is already answered, that there are people to talk to. And I think that's good to clarify. And those people know and can do the research to find even more professional help as well. So I think that's good to clarify.